How we doing, everybody? This is Dave Weichert with the Splash of Gas podcast, coming from you live from Lime Rock Park in Connecticut for the truck and ARCA race. Drove out earlier this morning. A little bit tired in all honesty, but we'll be all good. Excited for some great road course racing out here in Connecticut. So it's my first time here. This is my first time ever at a road course for NASCAR. So super excited for that. We'll keep you updated. Go from there. In the Truck Series pits right now, teams are getting ready for the qualifying that'll start shortly. With this being a road course, they do have the racing slicks along with the wet weather tires that are grooved. As a race fan, super cool to see those in person. It was raining a little bit earlier this morning, but it's been on and off. It's been dry for about the last hour, so hopefully it stays that way. Qualifying is complete and is won by the 11 of Corey Heim,
followed by Jordan Taylor making up the front row. Back in the studio, what an awesome time spent on the road course as Truck Series and ARCA Series would be racing at the circuit of Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, making lefts and rights. Splash of Gas would be at Lime Rock for both races on Saturday. Such a fun track and great time out there. Storylines for the weekend. ARCA heads to the Rock for its first road course of the season. Can a regular get it done? Or would Brent Crews or Thomas Annunziata seal the deal? Trucks going to the same circuit. They have 4 regular season races left. The pressure will be on the bubble drivers. Who will break through and who will crack? All of our content from Lime Rock, interviews with Corey Heim and Jordan Taylor. Please check out Lime Rock Garage Chats coming out later this week, featuring all our interviews from the Rock with Alex Labbe, Tanner Gray, Chandler Smith, Grant Enfinger, Jake Garcia, and Andrés Pérez de Lara. Plus, in this edition, Yellow Flag, Green Flag, discussions with Dave, Fast Davey's bets, and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at disneydavew@verizon.net. If you are from New Jersey and are planning on going during Teachers Convention Week, it is time to call Dave. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the ARCA Series recap from Lime Rock. After qualifying on Friday, New Jerseyan Thomas Annunziata would be on the pole, followed by the Joe Gibbs car driven by Brent Crews. Both Annunziata and Crews found themselves in trouble on the opening turn, each spinning, but that wouldn't hold them down for long. Showing calmness and impressive speed, the two would race through the field and back into the top 5 by the time the race reached its scheduled halfway break. Confusion at the front did help their cause. Race leader Alain Day missed the pit road entry during the break, regulating him to the rear of the field and handing the lead to Talladega winner Lawless Allen. The miscue from Day and a few others helped the causes of Crews and Annunziata to get back up front. With 33 laps to go, Thomas restarted in third, and he wasted no time to settle the score with Allen, as Lawless was the one that spun Thomas Annunziata on the opening lap. Annunziata repaid that favor and reclaimed the number 1 spot. The moment of the race came on a restart with 18 laps to go. Annunziata and Crews went wheel to wheel through the fast and flowing corners of turns 4 and 5, with Crews pulling ahead in what looked like the race-winning move. But it was short-lived. ARCA officials ruled that Crews jumped the restart and gave him a penalty, giving up the lead back to Thomas Annunziata. From there, it was smooth cruising. No serious threats behind him. Thomas would pull away in the final laps with an impressive comeback and secure his first ARCA win. Congratulations to Thomas. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, What Hall of Famer won the first Xfinity Series race, then Busch Series, at Atlanta Motor Speedway in March of 1992? Answer coming at the end. One of the drivers we touched upon last week to look out for at Lime Rock for the trucks, also making his Truck Series debut for Spire in the 7 truck, was driver Jordan Taylor. Jordan competes full-time in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, driving the number 40 Cadillac V Series for Wayne Taylor Racing. Jordan won the 2017 24 Hours of Daytona along with Jeff Gordon, Max Anginelli, and his brother Ricky Taylor, and the 2017 championships in the prototype class at the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Taylor also won the 2013 Rolex Sports Car Series Daytona prototype class, the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Sprint X GT Championship. Taylor also achieved a GTE Pro Class victory at the 2015 24 Hours of Le Mans in the Chevrolet Corvette C7R. Born in Orlando, Florida, Taylor began his career in professional sports car racing in 2008, competing in the 24 Hours at Daytona, finishing 15th. We bring on our first driver interview of the show, Jordan Taylor. Here's what he had to say pre-race.
Jordan Taylor here with Dave Weichert. You were first in practice yesterday. What did you learn from the truck and the track?
It was my first time in a truck, so every lap was kind of important to see what things were about. Obviously, I know the track, but learning every lap. I think qualifying is going to be super important today. It's going to be a tough track to pass on, so hopefully we can start up front and stay out of the trouble and have a good shot to battle for the win.
Gotcha. Anything you learned about the tire wear yesterday?
I think tire deg will be a big part of it for everybody. Front and rear, probably primarily rear tire deg. So stages are pretty long, 35 laps. So I think the name of the game will be save your stuff early and hopefully have a good tire at the end of the run.
Sounds great. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Really cool to talk with a world-class racer in Jordan to go over that tire wear and his expectations. Now for the Truck Series recap from Lime Rock. With the Truck Series being the main event at Lime Rock on Saturday, it was a little bit different from a fan perspective, but I really liked it. First time going there was an awesome road course in the Green Hills of Connecticut. Was lucky enough to talk to several drivers. Stay tuned for those. After qualifying, Corey Heim would be the fastest, followed by Jordan Taylor, who we just spoke to, making up the front row. Once the green flag dropped, Heim would get a great jump and take command of the top spot. Lane Riggs, starting third, gets around Jordan Taylor for the second spot, as Taylor settles into third. 10 laps to go in the first stage. Heim would have just under a 5-second lead to Riggs in second. Corey Heim would go on to cruise to the Stage 1 victory, with Riggs and Taylor following. Riggs would be hot on the bumper of Heim to start the second stage, but it wouldn't be enough to get a piece of Corey as he continues to stay up front. Again, as the laps tick down in the stage, Heim will continue to expand his lead. Stage 2, just like Stage 1, would stay green and go to Heim. Corey Heim again shows his strengths on the restarts, going back to the lead. Jordan Taylor drops to 5th on the restart for the third and final stage, with Riggs in second, Connor Mozak third, and Ty Majeski fourth. The only real drama of the race would occur with 11 laps to go, when the first yellow for caution would fly. Matt Mills would go sliding off the track, off turn 1 with his brakes locking up. They would restart with 5 laps to go. Heim and Riggs on the front row, followed by Mozak and Majeski. What would happen on the next restart? Chaos. Riggs, trying to get position on Heim, drives it a little bit too hard into the first turn. His brakes lock up. Heim again would take the front spot, but this would allow Ty Majeski, last year's champion, still hungry for his first win this year, into second. Could Majeski catch Heim? No, he could not. It would be all Heim time as he sweeps the weekend in Connecticut. Congratulations to that 11 Tricon team. Quick look back at the predictions we made. ARCA went with New Jersey native Thomas Annunziata in the Nitro Motorsports car. He wins the pole, has some early race drama, but once he gets back up front, he didn't look back and gets his first win at the ARCA level. Truck Series tapped full-time driver Ben Rhodes in the 99. He brings it home fourth. Now for yellow flag, green flag. ARCA, green flag. Gotta give it to the winner, Thomas Annunziata. He battles back after a first lap spin after contact with Lawless Allen. The NJ native gets his first win at ARCA and has a P15 finish in the Truck Series for Spire in the 07 truck. Well done, Thomas. Trucks, yellow. Did have him on the show, but Jordan Taylor, he was third in stage 1, third in the second as well. Gets some bad luck, ends up finishing 20th. He had such a much stronger run than that, though. Can't wait to see Jordan back in NASCAR. Very talented driver, and that was seen on Saturday in what was his first Truck Series start. Give him a break on that one, though. Trucks, green flag. As discussed, a little bit of craziness at the end of the race. It was not the win he would have liked, but last year's champ, Ty Majeski, known mainly as a short track ace, brings it home second at Lime Rock. Much needed points as he sits on the playoff bubble. Lime Rock was the fourth Truck Series race I've gone to this season. As a race fan, very excited to get an interview with points leader and someone we know that's going to be racing on Sundays next year, Corey Heim. Here's what Saturday's winner had to say pre-race.
Dave Weichert here with Corey Heim at Lime Rock, just about to qualify. Your fourth in practice yesterday. It's the first time the trucks have been here. How you feeling? What did you learn from the track?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I've never been here until this weekend, so just kind of learning and adapting. I feel like our sim model back at TRD in Toyota was really close, so felt pretty comfortable from the get-go. Just settling in and made some minor adjustments to the truck yesterday, but pretty confident in my Safe Flight Chandler TRD Pro to be able to set down a good lap. I think it's going to be super important with no real pit stops and whatnot to get track position. So qualifying is going to be big, and it's important to lay down a good lap. But I'm confident we can do it.
Gotcha. Fortunately, I had that tire go down last weekend in Pocono. What'd you learn from the tire wear in the practice? Sounds like that's going to be big today.
Yeah, it was more than we thought it was going to be, especially rear tire wear and just overall drive issues. It was going away a lot faster than we anticipated. So certainly something to look out for. I don't think we can do much to adjust for it, but hopefully we can just kind of control the race from the lead and manage that tire wear.
Gotcha. Best of luck today. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 1. As Corey Heim just mentioned, there was no pit crews, only road crews, as Xfinity and Cup Series would be racing in Atlanta. As mentioned, it was just the trucks and ARCA in Lime Rock. So to save money, Truck Series elects for controlled 3-minute stops in between the stages. I greatly enjoyed my time at the 1.4-mile road course of Lime Rock. The racing was great, fast, always pretty much a car going around with the laps running around 54, 55 seconds. A lot of action. As a race fan, it would have been super cool because on the road courses, the strategy with pit stops, short pitting the stage, and strategy like that really is spotlighted specifically on the road courses. A fast, quick road course like Lime Rock, it would have been really cool to have that curveball thrown in if the pit crews were there. Lime Rock, great course. Definitely not one for the Cup Series, but it would have been extra cool and interesting to have the pit crews there. In the end, as we saw, the strongest car all day, Corey Heim, went on the win. The only way that someone realistically could have caught him would have been on that pit strategy. Nonetheless, awesome racing. 5 stars to Lime Rock. If you ever get a chance to go there, I would highly suggest it. I really enjoyed my time up there. Post Lime Rock, there are 3 regular season races left in the season before the Truck Series playoffs start in Darlington. Right now, there is 7 different winners between the full-time drivers. So the top 7 we know are locked in. Truck Series, 10 trucks make it into the playoffs. The top 7 drivers locked into the playoffs on a win are Corey Heim, Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Hemrick, Stuart Friesen, and Raja Caruth. Currently, the 3 drivers that sit on the right side of the points are Caden Honeycutt, plus 67, Grant Enfinger, plus 64, and Ty Majeski, plus 38. Drivers on the outside of the bubble, in 11th, Jake Garcia, minus 38. Gio Ruggiero, minus 65. Ben Rhodes, minus 68. Of the 7 drivers with wins so far this year, really not too surprised. All that group of 7, they've have previous Truck Series wins coming into this year. Maybe Stuart Friesen surprises some, as it did take him a couple years to return to victory lane, but he's a veteran in the Truck Series. Wasn't really surprised that much by his win in Michigan in the triple overtime. The driver that is the highest right now, based on points, is having a heck of a season in that Nice 45 truck. Someone we talked to in Pocono, Caden Honeycutt. He has a lot of momentum coming into this season with his Snowball Derby victory in the super late models at the end of 2024. Veterans of Grant Enfinger and Ty Majeski. A little bit surprised those 2 don't have a win between the 2 of them. I only think it's a matter of time before that will happen this year. The question for those 2, can they get a win before the playoffs start to secure their spot? Jake Garcia, another strong short track driver, is the first driver the outside looking in right now in the standings, as he is minus 38 points out of a playoff spot. He does race for ThorSport, and among his 3 other teammates, Ty Majeski, Matt Crafton, and Ben Rhodes, the young Garcia is the only one without a Truck Series championship. Kind of crazy to think about that. Slightly surprised to see Jake ahead of Rhodes and Crafton. Ty Majeski in that 10th spot and Enfinger in that 9th spot have a little bit of a cushion. It's going to take a swinging chance for Garcia to win the playoffs. Probably a win, but we will see what happens. Can't wait for the playoffs to start in Darlington. But before then, there's going to be a last 3 great regular season races. That's for sure. Next topic on Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Truck Series playoffs. Last 2 in, first 2 out. Just going over the breakdown on points, you can hear the drivers I'm hot on. First 2 out, think that's going to be Jake Garcia and Ben Rhodes. I want Ben Rhodes to get a win in one of these last 3 races. I hate to be the one to say this. Is Ben Rhodes starting to fall into that end of career averageness that we've unfortunately seen a Truck Series, multiple Truck Series champ Matt Crafton fall into? I hope not. I thought Ben would get over that last year. He didn't, and we just haven't seen enough from him so far this season. That's why I think Jake Garcia and Ben Rhodes will be the 2 drivers sitting 11th and 12th out of the playoffs as the playoffs do start in Darlington. Now, for the last 2 in, I think that's going to be Caden Honeycutt and Grant Enfinger. Ty Majeski, he's going to grab a win in one of these 3 remaining regular season races. I know it's almost a month before IRP. I'm not trying to give my predictions out right away. I have to look more into it. I think he's going to go on to win IRP, just straight off rip. That's I think a track that sets up really good for him. I don't think Ty is going to have to worry on the points. Grant Enfinger could totally do the same thing too. He is a veteran. He's won a lot of truck races in his career. I think Caden Honeycutt with that plus 67 cushion points-wise right now, I think he's good. He's had a lot of strong runs this year. As he said in Pocono, he's really aiming his goals to make Phoenix. I don't know if that will happen. I do think he will make the playoffs this season, though. And that wraps up part 1 of Discussions with Dave. Now for NASCAR history time. Firecracker 400. From 1959 to 1987, the Firecracker 400 at Daytona was a true Independence Day tradition, run every year on July 4th, regardless of the day of the week. Among the event's legends, Hall of Famer David Pearson stands out with 5 Firecracker 400 wins in 61, 72, 73, a three-peat winning 74, and again in 1978. But no Firecracker 400 was more iconic than the one held on the 4th of July in '84, a race etched into NASCAR history. The day marked the 200th career win for Richard Petty, a milestone no driver has even come close to touching. It would also be his final NASCAR Cup Series win. The race itself was a battle royale featuring 29 lead changes and a field stacked with the top NASCAR talent. 7 of the top 8 finishers would be later inducted into the Hall of Fame. The defining moment came on lap 158 when a crash in turn 1 brought out the caution. At the time, drivers raced back to the start-finish line to claim position before the yellow flag officially froze the field. The King and Cale Yarborough, a fellow Hall of Famer, were side by side in a sprint to the line. Petty edged ahead by mere feet to start lap 159 in front of Yarborough, effectively securing his place in history. As if this moment needed more gravity, President Ronald Reagan was in attendance, making him the first sitting U.S. president to watch a NASCAR race live. Afterward, he famously joined the drivers for a meal of Kentucky Fried Chicken, cementing the day's place in both motorsports and pop culture history. Following his dramatic victory, Richard Petty was joined in victory lane by his wife, Linda, as fans celebrated the 200th win of a man forever known as the King. Now to Discussions with Dave, Part 2. ARCA Standings Lookout. 9 races into a 20-race schedule. Right now, after 9 races, there are 8 drivers that have competed in all of the races so far. Sitting at 8th in the standings is Brayton Laster. Then Michael Maples in 7th. Alex Clubb sitting in 6th. Venturini Motorsports driver of Isabella Robusto in 5th. West Virginia native Jason Kitzmiller sits in 4th. And now the top 3, which are super close in points. Only 17 points out of the top spot, LeVar Scott. Lawless Allen in 2nd is -9. Current points leader, and you know his name, winning multiple races so far this year, Brandon Butterbean Queen, is your current ARCA points leader after Lime Rock with 412 points. ARCA point system is very similar to the point system we saw in NASCAR prior to the win and you're in playoff-like system. That's why I specifically mentioned that top 3, as only 17 points separate Queen, Allen, and Scott. I've said this on the ARCA recap previously, and LeVar Scott finished 2nd in the point standings last year. He is just Mr. Consistent. Of the 9 races, the guy has 7 top 5 finishes. He's keeping his car clean and up at the top of those point standings. Wallace Allen, right behind Butterbean Queen, as we mentioned. After Lime Rock, Wallace is in second place, only 8 points ahead of LeVar Scott and 9 points behind Brendan Butterbean Queen. Not overly surprised by the point standings right now, specifically with that top 5, but 2 minor blips on the radar. Lawless Allen in second. This year has been a little bit of a breakout year for Lawless after riding in the back of the Truck Series for a little while. As he said in the ARCA January testing, he loves the speed those Venturini cars bring. Think it's going to be a sprint to the points finish between him and Queen. Other minor surprise for me is Lawless Allen's Venturini teammate, Isabella Robusto. She's been bit by some mechanical failures this year, unfortunately. She has 2 top 5 finishes, 5 top 10s. But if 1 or 2 of those 4 races where she finished outside the top 10 go her way, Robusto would be sitting at least within 50 points of Queen. Don't think the bad luck is going to follow her throughout the rest of this season. How far can Isabella climb in the standings? And does that bring her first ARCA win? I sure think so. Last topic on Discussions with Dave, Part 2. Benefits and detriments of the break until IRP. From Lime Rock, the Truck Series doesn't race again until July 25th when they travel out to Indianapolis Raceway Park. As we mentioned earlier in Discussions with Dave, Part 1, it's close quarters between some drivers in the playoff point standings. I think that's only going to get tighter come IRP. Do think the extended break is going to affect more of the younger drivers in the point standings. Jake Garcia, Gio Ruggiero, Tanner Gray. I'm sure those guys are going to spend a lot of time in the sim focusing on those 3 remaining regular season races, trying to be able to grab a win. Of course, the older drivers, Crafton, Majeski, Ben Rhodes, are going to be using those same simulators as those guys. But what the younger guys don't have is experience. And yes, I did just say that I don't think Ben Rhodes and Matt Crafton are going to be able to get a win and make the playoffs this year. But when the going gets rough, those guys can put their chin straps on and make it happen, as we've seen Ben Rhodes do in his championship runs. The younger drivers are also used to racing every weekend, and these younger guys are going to be probably in different cars between Honeycutt, the late models, and Jake Garcia too. But the veterans, Majeski, Rhodes, I feel like they can adapt quicker to being out of the car for a couple weeks compared to some of the younger guys. We'll see how the rest of the playoffs shape up, starting with IRP. And that wraps up this week's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now for my Lime Rock experience. As you heard at the beginning of the episode, was a long day heading out to Connecticut. So much fun though, driving those windy, green, beautiful country roads. And Lime Rock, no joke, is really on a farm. I parked next to a John Deere tractor. It was kind of cool. Walking in, dirt roads, liked it. Very friendly staff and people. When you got to that quick, short track, the watching I thought was great. There's no grandstands. At one point I was sitting on top of a hill watching them go around turn 1 and through the S's and into the Paul Newman straight. And for the races I was standing on pit road, really at the exit of turn 1, and that's where a lot of the action happened, and it was great racing there. Was my first time going to a short track. I didn't know completely what to expect. I maybe was a little bit nervous that there wasn't going to be as much passing, and we kind of did see that at the front, but in the middle, there was great action. Guys are racing each other hard through those S's, and it just was a great experience. I could go on probably for another hour or two how much fun I had at Lime Rock. Do greatly appreciate NASCAR and Lime Rock Park for getting me media credentials for this past weekend, which did give me access to get those great driver interviews. Thank you to them. Now for Fast Davies Bets. Best bang for your bracket. On the second episode of this week in Discussions with Dave, we're going to break down each second round bracket matchup for the Chicago Street Race. But for this episode's edition of Fast Davies Bets, we're giving you the best two drivers that we think will give you the best bang for your buck in the long run. In round one, craziness happened in Atlanta. But the big upset, Ty Dillon, who was the 32nd seed, beats Denny Hamlin, who is in the number 1 seed, flipping everyone's bracket. Right now, Ty Dillon is plus 6,500 to win the in-season challenge. He's facing Brad Keselowski at the street course of Chicago. That's a toss-up, but we know those Colleague racing cars with AJ Allmendinger, his teammate at Colleague, we know they can bring a great road and street car. I think Ty Dillon can edge Keselowski, and the next matchup for Dillon would be the winner of Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace. If Wallace can beat Bowman in Chicago, I don't see why Ty could trump Bubba in Sonoma. I really don't. Say what you want about Ty, the guy has experience and can bring it. Second driver we're going to go over right now, still in that same Colleague stable, AJ Allmendinger is plus 1,600 to win. He's matched up against Ty Gibbs. Ty's a solid road course racer himself. Think AJ is able to get it done in Chicago. Then the next race is Sonoma. AJ, whoever he faces in Sonoma, that's going to be either the winner of Chris Buescher or Zane Smith. AJ will have quick work of them if he doesn't have any issues on pit road or mechanical failures there. And then he would realistically face either Tyler Reddick or Ryan Preece in Dover. If those guys go accordingly, AJ would probably be the underdog if we get there. I don't see why he couldn't get that done. Could we see two Colleague cars in the championship dueling it out? Crazy to think of that at the beginning of this bracket tournament. But as we saw in Atlanta, anything can happen in any single of these matchups. Sorry if that was a little bit of a long-winded Fast Davies Bets, but wanted to go over in detail on why I think each of these guys are a good one to throw a couple bucks on right now. Of course, more to come on this as the in-season challenge continues. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. If you're from New Jersey and planning on going during Teachers Convention Week, it is time to reach out to Dave at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for trivia answer time for this episode. The question is, what Hall of Famer won the first Xfinity Series race, then Busch Series, at Atlanta Motor Speedway in March of 1992? The answer is Rainbow Warrior, Jeff Gordon. That wraps up this episode of Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Hope everyone has enjoyed all the content from Lime Rock. As mentioned, be on the lookout for Lime Rock Garage Chats with all of our interviews with the drivers from there. Till next time, Splash of Gas out.